NFL. So ESPN. Let me mention this as well. Thank you for checking us out here on the YouTube channel. Those listening to us, check us out on the YouTube channel. Go to unfair-sports.com. For those listening, you can click on the YouTube button. You'll see us here. For those that are watching us, you can also go to unfair-sports.com. And there, you can actually check out the podcast version if there's days you can't actually watch the video. So I'll make sure to chop it up where you guys can see each segment separately, as well as the full length. That's how we keep you guys entertained. So let's go on. Let's dive into the next segment, which is going to be ESPN's top 10. So last week we did the quarterbacks. That one was a really good one. I had a nice little discussion with the Titans fan on there about Ryan Tannehill. They seem to love their guy so much that they defend him at every turn, even though I gave Tannehill props. I just, in the eye test, we'll talk about that another way. Now we're on running backs. The next one we'll probably do is receivers after our break. We will be gone for 2 weeks. This is the last show. Actually, the last show will be the post-final show, and then we'll be gone next week and the week after.
We'll be back for you all August the 10th.
August the 10th is when the next show will relaunch. So, with that, ESPN's top 10 running backs, Jimmy. And this was a very interesting list, and I'm ready to get your thoughts on this and really debate it. So, let me give you a list of the players. Of course, we'll start at number 10. Number 10 is Josh Jacobs with the Las Vegas Raiders. Still feel weird saying that. Number 9, Joe Mixon with the Bengals. Number 8 is Aaron Jones with the Packers. Number 7 is Zeke Elliott with the Cowboys. Number 6 is Saquon Barkley with the Giants. 5, Christian McCaffrey with the Carolina Panthers. Number 4, Nick Chubb with the Cleveland Browns. 3, Dalvin Cook with the Minnesota Vikings. Number 2 is Alvin Kamara with the Saints. And the number 1 guy is you guys, Titans fans. It is Derrick Henry. So, for some context about these lists are surveys from 50 league executives, coaches, scouts, and players. These aren't the opinion of the ESPN staff. This is the opinion of people actually in the league and their thoughts about players and where they rank them up. It is a ranking. They have a point system that they did, and so this is how it came out. So, with that, Jimmy, do you think ESPN got it right? Well, do you think these executives got it right?
Based on my version of the list, I can say no. Ooh. But in doing this list, I can say yes, essentially because of who it came from, and that there isn't too many things with where they had them that I can argue with. But I was telling you before the show that I was upset with you because you did something to me and you don't even realize you did it. So in discussing that we were going to talk about the top 10 running backs, I did what I always do. I made my own list of my top 10 according to my rankings from 10 to 1. And normally, I'm a whiz when it comes to lists. I know exactly who I want where, the reasons why, and it all makes sense to me. But on this list, I was tormented. On this list, past maybe 1 or 2 picks, I had no idea where to put who. I lost sleep over it. I was upset. I think I wore the same clothes today as I wore yesterday. I was in really bad shape.
Wow, you were in shambles.
In shambles because of this list, because I just could not figure out why it didn't make sense to me until it did. Now, when evaluating running backs, from someone who's just watched the game for most of his life, you first look at, in terms of how I made my list, health. Because, you can't do anything on the field if you ain't there.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So I looked at health.
You can't be a friendly neighborhood spider man without a friendly neighborhood.
Exactly, right. So I looked at health 1. I looked at running between the tackles 2, because the foundation of what a running back is supposed to be in terms of the history of the position, which is evolving somewhat, is being able to run between the tackles. If it's 3rd and 2, fourth quarter, we need this first down. I don't want to have to throw a flare to you. I want you to pick it up with me handing the ball to you. How well do you do that? Number 3, then comes pass catching ability, which is a big part of what running backs are asked to do now, just that extra dimension. And number 4 is blocking, which is important because that can be the difference between getting your quarterback killed or not. But
that's the difference about it. That can be the difference of a 30-yard touchdown, a 30-yard pass completion or incompletion, and a 50-yard touchdown.
Right.
You're right.
So it's important, but as a running back, there are other things I need you to focus on first.
I'm with you.
So, all right, so when I did my list, here's what happened to me. When I did my list, I already knew, okay, Derrick Henry's number 1 off a 2,000-yard season was fantastic.
Yeah, let's go one by one with it, yeah.
Derrick Henry's a freak. He doesn't make sense to me because, for one, he never gets hurt.
Yep.
if he does get hurt, nobody knows it. He's like Jim Brown in that sense. Nobody ever knows when he's hurt. 2, he can squat 1,000 pounds, but his calves look like mine, right? I don't understand. I don't understand the physics of how that is possible.
That's a good point.
3, when you look at him, I mean, he looks like a running back, stocky as you would think, but the way he just mashes people's faces into the ground makes no sense to me.
The mash.
Monster
mash. Monster mash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. So he's like Giannis. He makes no, or Giannis, as Brandon Marshall says, he makes no sense to me. Just like LeBron James. He makes no sense. After that, the names I had from 2 to 6, based on my criteria, you could put in any number from 2 to 6. I had no idea how to arrange them. I had Saquon Barkley at 2.
Ooh.
I know I'm going to get some flack for that. I had Christian McCaffrey 3, Nick Chubb 4, Alvin Kamara 5, who, I guess I had him much lower.
Much lower than everyone else.
And Dalvin Cook 6. If you put any of these players in any one of those spots, 2 to 6, I couldn't argue with you.
Yeah.
Because I arranged them probably 100 times to see if I could get it to where I was content with it. Couldn't do it. Could not do it. So that's 2 to 6. Now, number 7, I did settle on. Number 7 to me is Aaron Jones. I don't think he's as good as those guys, but I think he's better than the ones who come after him. All right? And so Aaron Jones 7, and then I have Zeke at 8, Joe Mixon at 9, Antonio Gibson at 10. I could, in hearing that list, I could take out Gibson and put in Josh Jacobs because Gibson's coming off 1 season. Jacobs been a good running back, at least for 2 seasons, maybe 3? When did he get drafted? I want to say 2 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So 8 to 10 between Zeke, Mixon, and we'll say Josh Jacobs. You could arrange those any way you want to. All right. I know I had Gibson in there before, but I had no idea where to put either of these 3. So 1, Derrick Henry, 2 to 6, the collection of names I mentioned, I have no idea where they truly go. Aaron Jones 7, and then Zeke, Mixon, and Josh Jacobs, wherever you want to. That's not a list. That's just a bunch of chicken scratch. Like, I don't know what to make of this.
Just throw dominoes on the table and just figure out what the numbers are.
Right. So I don't know these running backs.
Okay.
Admit.
So looking at the honorable mentions, Jonathan Taylor, Kareem Hunt, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Miles Sanders. Do you think any of those 4 deserve to be in the top 10?
Read that name again. His name?
Jonathan Taylor, Kareem Hunt.
Jonathan Taylor has a case for 10.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Miles Sanders.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
So I don't have an argument for Jonathan Taylor at all in the top 10 because I don't think that he's better than Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is a workhorse. I think that he is he's a feature back. So I'll put it like this. I think that everyone on this list, the top 10, I think they got it right. I think all of based upon the averages, because it's a set of averages. Of course, unanimously was Derrick Henry number 1, mainly because of the 2,000-yard season. You can't not put him up there because he's still been able to put up those type of numbers. So he definitely deserves. So Titans fans, I love Derrick Henry. Think he's the best player you got on your team. Think he's really all you got on your team. I'm kidding. No, I think that I do think Derrick Henry is the best running back. The only problem I have with Derrick Henry at this point is that he's 27. And he has a lot of miles on that body.
Well, see, not as many as you would think because they played it smart. He wasn't the feature back until year 3 or 4. Yeah. So they had, I can't remember exactly who it was that they had.
They didn't have CJ2K at that point.
No, I don't know why I'm thinking Lindell White. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that was like 15 years ago. But
Lindell White.
They had someone in the Lindell White role who was able to take some of the carries off of him. I know they had Deion Lewis too. I don't know about last season, maybe the season before that, something like that from the Patriots.
DeMarco Murray. They took DeMarco Murray's miles from Dallas.
Yeah.
They basically, after Dallas put the miles on them, they took the leftover.
Teams don't really do that anymore, or as much as they should, in order to preserve the longevity of a back like this who could be just, an all-time great player. I mean, he was a Heisman Trophy winner, so they knew that the potential was there. So you don't see that a whole lot. Just like Saquon Barkley, day one, you're the team, franchise on your shoulders, run for 2,000 yards.
Yeah, they did give him a break, having DeMarco Murray basically carry most of the load the first year. The second year, they were just about split, and then from there, Derrick Henry basically was as a feature back. He's getting, 200 his third year. He got 300 his fourth year, and then 343 his fifth year, where he hit, 378 his fifth year, where he actually broke the 2,000-yard season. Now, like I said, I like Derrick Henry at that, and I felt like that's right, mainly because he's not going to hit 2,000 yards again.
Right. Now, do you like Kamara at 2? Because even if I don't know exactly where he falls in this, I would feel comfortable with him not being 2.
I like Dalvin Cook at 2 because I think Dalvin Cook did a little bit more than Kamara did last year, just a smidget more.
See, here's the thing about Dalvin Cook. He's better at running between the tackles than Kamara, but the thing about Cook is, I mean, this was part of my struggle, is that he's got an injury history. I mean, how could you not play in that position? Chubb missed some games last season. McCaffrey missed most of the season. Barkley missed most of the season, and I think missed some time the season before that. So injuries was kind of an issue that made it
quarterback was basically out the entire season.
Right.
Yeah, you had a lot of factors in there. Josh Jacobs missed some games. It cost me my fantasy league.
But see, with Cook, that's what Cook would do. He won't cost you a season. He'll cost you a fantasy championship because he'll be out the last 1 to 2, like the last game or 2 of the season. He'll miss that. That's what he misses when fantasy wise you need him the most. Whereas weeks 1 through 15 he was there.
Yeah, I think the thing that edges Alvin Kamara over Dalvin Cook, which makes sense, is that Alvin Kamara had 711 yards after the catch, and he led all NFL players with that. So he's the perfect run between the tackles and catching the flats guy.
I think to someone who came after our generation, would see Alvin Kamara and be comfortable with him at 2 because he's like one of the best receivers in the league. Whereas me, with the old school running backs, as far as, number 1 outside of health being between the tackles, that's a big part of the reason why I put Saquon Barkley in there, because I think he is better running between the tackles at 2, better than C-Mac, better than Kamara. I think he just edges Dalvin Cook. Nick Chubb might actually be better between the tackles than Saquon Barkley. But Chubb doesn't catch passes.
No, that's the thing, is Nick Chubb is a running back.
I'm a running back.
He's a running back's running back.
Yeah.
Running backs like him a lot because he is like them, legends especially. Coming out of Georgia, he is a yes. So I could see that. I would move Kamara to 3 personally, only because I think Dalvin Cook, I look at it the same way. I look at the running the ball. I think that Dalvin Cook's a better running back. I think Alvin Kamara is a better all-purpose back. Like, he does everything. So then I would keep Chubb at 4. I like Chubb. Christian McCaffrey being basically the Marshall Faulk role. If he wasn't hurt, he would have been higher. Because last year he was ranked number 2. But he was hurt last season. So like you said, health is probably 3rd on my list for running backs. And then pass catching, only because health is the most important. That's where I would see McCaffrey and Saquon down, because Saquon's coming off that torn ACL. And Christian McCaffrey's coming off every other injury he had at 5'11", 205.
True.
So he's kind of, it's funny to say that 5'11", 205 is undersized, but that's really undersized for what they do and the load they have. And Saquon was the number 1 running back last year. So your number 1 and number 2 both were out last year. That throws, to me, everything off as far as them trying to be ranked any higher. So, yeah, they would fall in that range. I think the Zeke one is the most interesting.
I was going to ask you about that. Do you think that there's a case to be made that he's outside of the top 10 based on how he did last season?
I think that the way he did last season wasn't really most his fault, because his quarterback
it was the Dak effect.
He was literally the option, and every team knew that. I'll put it like this. The Zeke situation, to me, makes me think of the situation that happened with the Titans in the playoffs versus Baltimore. They basically said, we're putting 9 in the box. We're putting 10 in the box. And then we're going to put the other 2 players on A.J. Brown. And so everybody else can do what they want to, but we're not going to let Derrick Henry go anywhere. And Tannehill, you're going to have to beat us by getting everybody else involved. And he couldn't do it. Mainly because that's not that easy to trust young guys and get them going, especially when Corey Davis wasn't playing the way he should have been playing. And Tannehill is just not that guy when it comes to that. So
could you make that same case for Joe Mixon, that everyone says, all right, we're just going to load up the box. We're going to stop you. And I know he had a rookie quarterback, up until week 11 or something like that, when Joe Burrow got hurt. But before that, that was a position that they obviously struggled in. So do you think that Joe Mixon would be higher if he didn't face a situation year in and year out like what Zeke Elliott faced last year?
Yes. I think that, and it's funny because one of the statements in here is that he's a fixture on the top 10 ballots despite playing only 6 games last year and averaging pedestrian 3.6 yards per carry.
Who's this?
Joe Mixon.
Yep.
We already know that the problem is that he plays for the Bengals.
Yeah.
So it's not something that he can truly control. Last year he was ranked 8th. This year he's ranked 9th because our running backs are a little bit better, especially with the way Aaron Jones, he was honorable mention last year. it makes sense to have Joe there. But I like Zeke at 7. I think Zeke's going to have a bounce back year. I think Zeke is going to be in better shape. He'll be better prepared, and he'll play. He fumbled a lot. And the one thing that helps Zeke to me in all of this is that Zeke is a really good blocker. And that is a very underrated.
Of the list, he's
the best one.
He's either the best one or the second best one.
Yeah, I think between him and Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure how Derrick Henry is when it comes to actual movement. I haven't paid attention to him in the backfield because for the most part, when Derrick Henry's on the field, he's getting the ball handed to him. Mm. Whereas with Zeke, is a lot of times where Zeke will bump and go, but Zeke was getting ran through post-COVID when he was out there. And that's one of those side effects from that Rona is decision-making. So it messes with your head. So I'd say I do like Zeke around there. I probably would put Aaron Jones above Zeke.
Yeah, I did.
But I don't know. And honestly, I think the way they rounded out is good. To be honest, it's kind of interesting that we really only have 10 backs to me that are premier right now. Like I can't think of any other backs outside of these 4 honorable mentions that I think that we're really sleeping on this person. Like we're really not. Like we're kind of low on running backs.
Well, because
right
I think a lot of teams are going to that running back by committee strategy.
Yeah,
I mean, and you can win with that.
It does work.
Yeah, I mean, your team last year with Fournette and with Jones, I think both of those are 1,000-yard
He's not even on the list, which is very interesting. Who? Fournette.
I mean, he only had like 400 or 500 yards last season.
Well, I mean, I get that, but at the same time, there's a chance that he could be the feature back for the Buccaneers.
Talent-wise, because if you would have done the year before that where he had like a 1,300-yard season or something like that.
He's still young.
Yeah, he's still young. So I think a lot of teams are discovering that you can win that way because even with the Kansas City Chiefs, they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but before that, they had a committee of running backs, even though one of them, Damian Williams, to me, should have been the Super Bowl MVP. And even my team, the 49ers, that's their strategy. Low paid backs, 2, 3, 4 of them, but they're hungry. They play within the system. They're interchangeable, so they don't have just all this load on their shoulders because that's what happens with these guys. They just get run into the ground and they get hurt. That's true. Why, honestly, when it comes to respect, I would say, and I struggle with this too, like which position do I respect the most just because of what they go through? It's either got to be the running back position because of the pounding. It's either got to be cornerbacks because you're on an island unto yourself, and when you screw up, everybody sees it, and they just play it back again and again. And then it's the quarterback because of all you have to handle on the field and off the field. So I have a tremendous amount of respect for running backs. How they even make it out of one game with the ability to play the next game with getting hit by the biggest, strongest, fastest men in the world. I mean, I don't know how they do it. Yeah. It's a superhuman quality almost.
My ranking of the hardest positions in football has always been corner. Mm-hmm. It's been quarterback, corner, offensive line. Corner, like you said, quarterbacks, they've got to know everything, see everything, understand everything, and that's a really hard position to be great at because there's so much going on. Mm-hmm. Like you said, corners are on an island, and they have no clue where anybody's going. Right. Their job is to guesstimate, look at hips, understand cuts, curves, the way players plant before they make their move. They got so much stuff they got to research, the DNA damn near of a person and all of their habits. And then the offensive line is the exact same thing as the corner. They have no clue where these defensive players are going. These linemen, they have to prepare for linebackers. They have to pay attention to hips, the way people plant to know what direction. All of that. It's just mind-boggling how confusing it is.
It's amazing. Yeah,
it's true. It's fascinating, and it makes to me so hard for the casual to be evaluate those positions, and I see why it's tough to evaluate those positions because you really cannot.
Honestly, I've been watching the game just for most of my life, just like you, and it's like even when I try to watch offensive line play, there's very little I'm able to pick up on. The ones who I've encountered who know exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it or what they should have done, play the position. Yep. That's it. Outside of anybody who played the position, nobody knows just how hard it is and the intricacies of the position.
Or guys that literally just watch film nonstop. Like I love listening to Greg Cosell talk about that, mainly because he dissects every aspect of the film, and it's just like, I want to get there one day. I just want to sit down, watch film, and constantly dissect. But it's one of those things that it's a skill that you have to learn by just doing it nonstop, but you also got to do it.
Can you imagine being able to do that for a living? I'm in a sense of reevaluating some of my career choices, and I've had a good career. But I'm like, man, you can coming to work just wake up 7:30 in the morning, get showered, get ready, and then go to the office and just watch NFL film.
You don't even go to the office. You just go downstairs and you do it in your man cave. All the filming, you're just nonstop. You're on the phone film. And you're just watching film nonstop. You're writing notes and you just
That's the life. That is the life.
But the other thing is too, he does it like for like 20 hours a day, so it's kind of
That's the life.
That's a lot.
That's a
That-
lot.
that's a good point.
I might do that one of these days.